Hello everybody, it's Victoria Calvin with my first ever scrapbook process video. This is a test video, so I will appreciate any comments or suggestions. Go ahead and leave those at the bottom. So what I'm doing is sort of showing you the sketch that I kind of came up with, along with some of the last bits of the Scraptastic We Will Rock You kit. I am a Scraptastic Kit Club member and I absolutely love their kits. I'm in no way paid to endorse their products, but I love their products, so I'm going to share it. So that was a Tim Holtz mask that I'm going to show you here in a bit. And then, of course, some of the embellishments. Scraptastic does provide its Kit Club members with tons of embellishments, and I usually never end up using them all, but I certainly try. And they also have exclusive stamps. I love stamping on my pages, and so you'll see that. Well, you won't see it because, unfortunately, oh, there's some thickers there. Unfortunately, the video is going to cut off at the end, and I do apologize for that. My camera, I film with my iPhone, and my camera lost some juice. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and trim up some pages, and my idea is to sort of make a floating cluster, and I love that star paper. I will post kind of more specifically what these products are, and that star paper was just going to fade into the back of that white textured cardstock that I'm using as my base. And I pull out the scallop paper, which it took me a while to kind of love that, but I needed something to sort of anchor that photo. And I'm going to go ahead and trim that up, and I'm going to take those two pieces and I'm going to cut banners. I'm looking at my sketch again. Sometimes I'm not a sketch scrapper by any means, but sometimes I'm very lazy. I don't like to think of things of my own, even though this one was my own, but I do like to grab a sketch every now and then. I'm trimming up that stripe paper. I love stripe paper. I just needed another element to kind of build the foundation for that layer. So now I got all my pieces. I'm getting ready to cut it, and I flip it back over, and I'm looking at that star paper, and it's just not going to work. I've used it in another layout, and so I'm going to flip it. On the back of that paper is going to be some sketched guitars, which works fine. This is a picture of my husband and I. Today we celebrate 6 years of marital bliss, and so I wanted to do a layout inspired by us. We don't get to take pictures very often together, but in this particular picture we were at a piano bar, and I wanted something to kind of represent music, and so those guitars will represent that. So piano, guitar, whatever, it all kind of works. And so you're going to see me flip that, and I'm not too upset about that. And there you go. And I decided that just looks a little bit better and brings out that photo a bit more. And I'm going to go ahead and adhere. One of the things that I love to do is make clusters, and I go ahead and I build my cluster. That way I can sort of move it around the page. And so you see me doing that right there. And I don't adhere the whole thing to the page until I'm satisfied with how I want it. So I'm gluing all those elements together. And then I think, oh yes, and so then I'm going to take some washi tape to kind of hold it all together. And that washi tape I purchased from 2Ps in a Bucket. And those of us who shop 2Ps, I'm sure, are very sad that they are no longer in business. I did buy that during their store closeout sale. And I am sorry, I don't know the manufacturer. I got rid of that packaging a long time ago. But it's a wide washi, and it has turquoise and white stripes, and it is fabulous. And so I needed something to sort of anchor that cluster a bit more, and I'm going to move it down slightly. I am really not that picky. Most of the time when I'm scrapbooking, I'm pretty type A in most aspects of my life, but scrapbooking I'm not. Then I decide I'm going to ink, and I do this all the time. I will build my layer and then say, hey, that'll look great with some ink, and then I've taped all the stuff together, but that's okay. We're going to make it work. And that is Tim Holtz pumice stone, I believe. So I'm using a lot of gray elements. And now I'm going to take a Tim Holtz mask, and it's a burlap mask, and I love it. And I'm kind of marking the corners of my cluster so I know where I want to do some of this inking at. I love me some Timmy Holtz. So I'm going ahead and I'm putting some of that on the page. I love making my own backgrounds and building and adding some dimension to that, so that's pretty fun. All right, so I'm positioning that, seeing how it looks, adding a little bit more. Masks are so fun to use. I just say get them out and try them, and you mess up, it doesn't look good, you can always start over. I do that a lot. Now I'm thinking I am going to put some mist on this page. Very popular technique, obviously. And I tend to I love mist. These are the Heidi Swapp mist, and I love them because they're sparkly. But I also tend to be very heavy-handed with mist and probably go a little bit overboard. But I guess you can't really go overboard in something like this. I don't know. So I'm covering the page, and I'm going to use the applicator there, or the little tube, to kind of sprinkle this around, but I wasn't getting the sprinkles that I wanted. So then I thought, oh, I'll pull out my paintbrush, and then it was way too much, and I knew it was way too much when I put it on there. And so now I'm wiping my ink off, and I'm rubbing it on my pants, because I tend not to wear pretty things when I'm scrapbooking. So anyway, I'm sprinkling some of this Heidi Swapp mist on here, and the names of the mist escape me. One is kind of a gray color, and one's sort of a turquoisey green color. And so I decided, hey, maybe that's not too much, so maybe I can make it look better with more sprinkles. And it just looks like a hot mess. So what I'm going to do, and you won't see this on this process video, is I'm going to redo that background paper to where it's a little less of the mist, but still kind of gives it the effect that I want. Okay, so I put the cluster back on the page, and now I decide that I want to ink the edges of the paper, and I thought I had enough ink on my dauber, but I don't, and so I'm kind of a bit of a lazy scrapper. I didn't want to reach just the 1 inch it took to go get that distressed ink. You can see it on my desk there, but I had to go ahead and do it anyway. And so now I'm going to put some dimensionals on there. I really love foam dots and squares, and I really like the foam tape, but it's so expensive. So if you know where you can get a big old roll of foam tape that won't break the bank, please post that below. I would love to know. So I'm going to put this whole cluster on these foam dots. I'm taking the backs off. I'm going to go ahead and adhere it to the page because I'm pretty confident this is where I want it to be. And it's looking good. So I'm checking that out. Yep, that looks good. So we're going to move on. And I'm referring to my sketch, and now I kind of point to the bottom where the title is going to go. Unfortunately, that title is not going to stay there, and I kind of regret that a little bit. But at the time I was constructing this layout, it didn't look all that well to me. Oh, the fussiness of us scrappers. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pull out the thickers, and with the Scraptastic Kit Club, you get typically wonderful thickers, which are great because I am a thickers fiend. I have a lot of thickers. I love thickers. And so the title is My Guy, and it was going to be My Person, and then I noticed I didn't have any S's, and what I edited out of the video is me shaking my hands in anger because I didn't have any S's to do that title. And then I was going to do My Lobster, but again, the S problem, and so I just went with My Guy. So I'm pulling out some of these wood veneers, which in the Scraptastic Kit Clubs, you get a lot of these wonderful wood veneers, and I keep them in a little bin. In fact, when I get my kits, I unpack them, and I have 2 wicker baskets in these little bins, and so I organize all the elements, and they stay on top of my desk, and so when I'm ready to scrap, it's all there. And I love digging. I'm pretty type A in other aspects of my life, but when it comes to scrapbooking, I don't mind shoving things in a tin and then pulling them out and digging around for what I want. So I try not to be too type A in my creative pursuits. And so I'm dumping those out on my desk, and I'm looking around for just the right elements. And what I find is, originally I had this little ampersand that was going to go at the bottom, and then I didn't like that. And then I found a little heart. And then I found this little circle wood veneer that has us in the middle. Now I'm looking through all my die cuts. You do get a very generous portion of die cuts with these kits, which is great. And I usually end up with far more than I'll use on any normal basis. And so I'm pulling some out and deciding which ones I want to use, and I'm kind of fussing around the page. Things tend to travel a lot sometimes around my page, and then I get frustrated and just commit to it. Then I get interrupted. Now I have to do some parenting. My little girl had this little puzzle book, and the puzzle piece got stuck, and it was sticky, and I have no clue why it's sticky, but I'm moving on with life. I have to scrapbook pretty fast. As I mentioned, today is my husband and I's 6th anniversary. We just decided to stay at home and be lazy, but our little girl is definitely busy. She's 4, and so I try to scrapbook as fast as I can. So every now and then she'll pop over because she's bored and she wants to play, and you might see a little hand or a puzzle or a doll appear in the scrapbook process videos. Okay, and so now I'm fussing with that title, and as I mentioned, ultimately it's not going to go there, and I'm okay with that. But now that I look at it, it kind of looks really good. If you're liking the way this is, feel free to scrap lift this. And it's not as though the title doesn't look good there. It just didn't look good for what I wanted it to be. Normally I put my thickers on wax paper. I got that little idea from Mercy Tiara, who's a Scraptastic design team member, and I've been watching her videos for a long time. So Tracy, I don't know if that was ideas original to you or not, but you got credit for it this time, girl. So there you go. That way I can travel the title around my page, and I didn't do that, so you'll see me fussing with that a lot. And before that, I was trying to use those little doggies, those little doggy die cuts. I don't use animals in my layout, so I don't know why. I was going to make one a girl dog and one a boy dog, and it just didn't work. So now I got the flare, and I've got this wood veneer, and it's traveling around the page because I'm trying to decide where I want it to go. And I tend to get pretty frustrated when I can't find that exact spot. I thought I was going to put it on top of that banner, that orange banner, and it doesn't work. And so I get out these wood veneer banners, and that one says happy. And although it adds some character to the page, I think it was just competing. It has some text on it, and then some other things had text, and it was competing. So I go ahead and I cut out a little element from that little die cut card. And then the Scraptastic kits, they do have an option. You can get what's called a This Life Noted kit. And it's for pocketed scrapbooking, but you can use a lot of those elements in just your regular, standard scrapbook pages. Get some versatility out of that. So I cut out another banner die cut. And I'm trying to build a cluster there. And I'm moving things around and I'm trying to make things work. And it's just not working. So I'm going ahead to commit to what some things, at least for now. I have no problem pulling things up off a page if it doesn't work. So I got that tag. I've got a vintage camera die cut. And then there's another tag there and it's trimmed in gold. And I'm not normally one for gold, but lately I'm like all about the gold and it seems to be very popular in a lot of things. So there's that flare. It says now. It has nothing to do with the page, but it's the last flare that I have in the kit. So I was going to try to use it. Then I'm going to ink this wood veneer. And you get some free inks, I guess, after you order so many kits. And I want to say those are Prima inks. I like that they're small. I don't have a large scrap space, so if I don't have to store big things, that's great. So now I'm thinking what I'm going to do next. Yes, I'm going to go ahead and stamp another one of those wood veneer pieces. And that has a heart. And I'm going to trim that up. I don't like wasting product, so I'm going to use that on the opposite side of the page. And I figure if it halfway goes with the design, I'm just going to go ahead and use it so I don't have it floating around. I try not to keep a lot of stash. I like to use my stuff. All right, so there goes that flare, and I pop it up on dimensionals, and it's not going to end up ultimately on the final page, but that's okay. I love flare. I have a love affair with flare. All right, and so I decided to go ahead and do that orange because that yellow was competing with that yellow banner that was down there. And now that I look at it, I probably should have just kept it there. Scrapper's remorse. We all have it, right? Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put that there, at least for now. And then I'm trying to decide what I'm putting in that corner, and it looks really naked to me. And so I get their exclusive die cut. I've been trying to use those puppies ever since I've been a Scraptastic member, and it just hasn't worked. So maybe I need to watch somebody else's video. So those go away. There was a black banner I was going to use. That didn't work because a lot of my elements, darker elements, are gray. I commit to that wood veneer, and I commit to the heart one, at least for now. That's going to eventually be pulled up. And then I'm digging around through my die cuts again. And I'm trying to decide what I want to put there. I'm like really committed to try to find what I want to do with that little section. And so I get out the This Life Noted cards, and this is the Scraptastic Kit Club's equivalent to sort of your Project Life cards. And they're very thick, and they're very high quality, and they're wonderful. And I like to go and cut some of the elements out of them and use them in my scrapbook pages or cards. So they're very, very versatile. So I'm fussy cutting, and I love fussy cutting. There was a time earlier in my scrapbooking career, if you call it a career, it makes me sound all important, where I was definitely on a budget, and so I had to I used to print a lot of die cuts and things out, and so, in printables rather, and then I would trim them up and use them on my pages. And that's just a really economical way to make things stretch. And I decided I was going to put it there, and then I put it back up there. Ultimately, it doesn't matter because it's not going to go on the final page. And so sometimes I go ahead and adhere things, and if it doesn't work, then I figure I can just take it off and start again. That flare is just not looking great there, so I decide I'm going to put it up there, and then I'm going to move it again, and it's like, oh, Victoria, just commit. You're so non-committal. That happens. And there it goes again. I'm just trying really hard to put that flare somewhere, and I thought, oh, I'll just put it there for now. And I'm looking, it goes to the side. And so I get these stickers, which they're not really stickers. I don't know what they are. They're Heidi Swapp. And you peel them off, it has no adhesive backing. It's very smooth. I don't know what they are. And so I'm trying to decide if I want to put some elements there. There are some of these more clear stickers, and I put a couple on. Ultimately, they don't end up in the final page. And this is where the video cuts off, and I do apologize. Here are some pictures of the final layout. Again, this is my test video. Please leave your comments and suggestions below. I hope to, in the near future, be posting more regularly as I kind of get down how I want to record these and edit. But thanks for your support. Thanks for your comments, and thanks for participating. And hopefully there'll be more to come. Bye.